Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we come to you tonight in the name of Jesus, and Lord, we ask that you would preside over this meeting, that Father, you would give us each wisdom and guidance as we go about the business of the city of Jackson. We pray for our city, Lord. We pray, Father, that you'll continue to bless it. Pray, Father, that you would prosper it, that you would keep our citizens safe, and we thank you for who you are. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I'd like to call this evening's meeting to order. Before we have roll call, the chair would like to thank Ryan Peters for chairing last week's meeting in my absence. So I do appreciate it greatly. Ms. Coon, if we can have roll call, please.
Foster.
Here.
Andera.
Yes.
Colby.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Newkirk.
Here.
Crabtree.
Here.
Bob.
Here.
I believe under the agenda forum, visitors and recognition, Mayor, this morning you didn't have anybody planned. Did you have anything for this evening?
None tonight. Thanks.
Moving on then to the approval of the minutes that's in each one of your packets from the February 14th meeting. Any objections, corrections that need to be made to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Bopp to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Colby? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. So with that being done, we'll step into our committee reports. We have Mr. Andera. You have anything to report?
No report.
Ms. Colby?
No report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back up, Mr.
I've been approached by several residents of Redonda Drive, low water pressure, and the first person, I thought this was something just, came up, but I understand it's a problem that's been going on for a few years. I can yield to Mr. Swackhammer on that.
Yeah, it's something that we're aware of. It's actually one of the project items that we identified last year based on priority and stuff. We've talked about it again this year. We are very much aware of it. We are looking for alternatives. Most likely we're going to need to get some easements in order to get the water where it needs to go in order to get the pressure we need to have. So there's a little bit of pre-work that needs to be done, but again, it was identified last year as a project that is on the priority list. Can't tell you exactly when, but it is well known.
Thank you.
Anything else for the utility committee? Hearing none, Ms. Colby? Budget and finance? No report? Police, fire, and traffic, Mr. Foster?
I've got several items. On the traffic on the street, we've got Bridge Street and Main Street. On the Bridge Street side, where the sign, stop back. Everybody understand what I mean by stop back? The white is not there, Mr. Swackhammer, and a business owner there says that if we could get more people to stop back where the sign is, and if we put the stripe back down with the trucks turning right on the bridge, they're collecting the concrete curb there. You know where I mean?
No, I'm trying to visualize. I'm not following.
Bridge and Main, the filling station.
Okay.
The corner to the right.
Yep.
Okay. So if we could get that sign on the Bridge Street side maybe bigger, and we could get the stripe back down. There's no white stripe there to stop. Okay.
Okay.
Had a business owner asked me to look into that. The Civil Service Commission had a meeting last Thursday night on the fire department assistant chief and on the police chief. Nothing was handled, and there's going to be another meeting on believe it's Wednesday, 5:30, is that right? Yeah. So that's open to anybody that wants to come. I understand today that the city had 2 trucks out of cold patch and had a couple trucks out trying to do some gravel in the alleys, so that's a good sign for everybody there. I think that's all I've got, other than the fire department is still looking for recruits, which they might be looking for recruits for the rest of the year. So if you know anybody who wants to be a fireman, let them know. That's all I have for right now.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Any questions from Mr. Foster? Mr. Peters, Service Committee?
I have nothing to report, but I do have a question to see if we had any contact with Rumpke in regards to the recycling program.
We have a meeting scheduled with Nick this week. Wednesday or tomorrow? Wednesday?
I think it's tomorrow, but it might be Wednesday, I'm not sure.
It's either tomorrow or Wednesday morning.
That works. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Moving on to the auditor's report, Mr. Reed.
I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Kirby.
I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Officer Hinch.
Just real briefly, I was CC'd on the email I believe all of you received from Mr. Tim Matchett, resident of South Street, as far as traffic issues there. It's something that I've spoken with Mr. Swackhammer on. And we are actually, we've done a preliminary study. I appreciate that. I had one of my guys go 3 different times today from 9:40 in the morning to 10:10. From 1:30 in the afternoon till 2, and then 3:30 in the afternoon till 4 o'clock. He gauged the speed on 185 different cars. In the morning period, there were 2 that went 37 was the top speed. 2 in the middle period there that were going 42. And the top speed in the late afternoon was 37. That's a 35-mile-an-hour zone. So 185 cars. 2 cars were 7 miles an hour over the speed limit. It's not an area that we have a lot of crashes. In fact, we've had no crashes in the last 5 years. We're not done necessarily observing and looking at this, but it doesn't seem to be a high target area, at least right at this time.
Questions, Mr. Hinch?
Is there stop signs? I only got the email Sunday night. Is there stop signs on,
Are you looking for speed limit signs?
speed limit signs, I'm sorry.
So speed limit signs, it's a state route through that part of South Street. And the ORC says state route going through municipality is 35, or if this council wants to make it a slower speed, they have the ability to do that through ordinance. It's currently, there aren't a lot of signs up through there, but it is 35 miles an hour. And, I don't know that the sign reminding people, I think a lot of people think it's 25. So you're kind of,
I don't think a lot of people recognize those signs, do you?
well, I guess that's my point. If we put up 2 signs,
Right.
in that 1,000-yard section that say 35, I don't know that that's going to change anything significant. If it makes everybody happier, put them up. It's not going to hurt anything, certainly. But I do think there's a good number of populations. I talk to people that think, just assume it's 25 like the rest of South Street. So I don't know if that may help keep people from doing excessive speeds. And I don't have any way to determine that through a traffic study, but so far it's not a problem area. We work traffic at the police department to help ensure traffic safety for the safety of everybody. We don't have any crashes there. We're not seeing excessive speed. We don't have any injured pedestrians. We don't have any dogs getting hit crossing the road. We don't have anybody slamming into people's houses. We move on to other areas that seem to be more troublesome.
Mr. Peters?
Does the city still have the radar trailer thingy that they used to put up that shows your speed instantly? Does the city still own that, or do we rent that, or?
I believe we still have it, but I don't know that it works
Gotcha.
at present time. I've not used it during my tenure.
I just know a couple
I
of,
believe
couple
a
of
year,
times.
year and a half ago, that Tom was having some trouble with it. So but I haven't seen it during this pandemic.
I just know a couple of times on South Street I've seen it, and I don't know if that helps either, but kids like to run past it to see how fast they're going.
Well, now, when the previous chief had the cruisers parked around town, there was a lot of talk about that, okay?
Listen, you're gonna get different opinions on every tactic that is used. I mean, if we go up and we enforce and just write everybody that goes 2 miles an hour over, there's gonna be some people happy, some people angry. If we don't see it as a major problem that people are 5 miles an hour over on some city streets, there's gonna be problems both ways. We look for the most, what impacts the public safety. That's what we're really charged with doing, not trying to get picky with people to try and generate revenue for the courts or anything like that. It's all about public safety. And right now, we think this is a relatively safe area for right now. We're going to continue. I mean, we're not going to, well, we did it today and we couldn't find anything excessive. I spoke with Mr. Matchett myself on Sunday. I think some of his concern is at night. And so since I've received the email, it has not even been night yet. It just got dark. So it's something we'll look at in the next couple of weeks and see if maybe we can slow something down that's buzzing by there 55 at night, if that's even occurring.
Well, I appreciate your help.
Anything else?
Oh, no, that's all.
Mayor's report, Mayor Evans?
I want to expand on a couple of things that have already been brought up. Mr. Swackhammer and Mr. Foster were talking about the water issue on Redondo, and it is one of our identified projects to get a new water supply to Redondo, but because it's always been low water pressure there. But the pressure seems to have gotten worse lately, and they are working on that to try to make it better under the current situation, because getting a new water supply there is a lengthy process. So they're working on a short-term improvement, and it is also listed as a long-term project to actually run a new water line to there. So also the Civil Service Commission meeting was last week that Mr. Foster mentioned, and again Wednesday night. Just want to make you aware of what's going on there. The Civil Service Commission that I appoint is all new. The 3 members on that are relatively inexperienced there. And they approved the process that we use to name a police chief or a fire chief. And so that's what they're working on right now, and it's a complicated process. There's a lot of different direction there, and it doesn't all seem to fit together. There's a high revised code that tells how you're supposed to do that. There is city ordinances on the books that tell how we're supposed to do that, and then there are the Civil Service Commission rules. Our Civil Service Commission rules were very old, so we've had a legal firm helping us update them, and so that's why we have an interim assistant fire chief, and we have and Chief Hinch there is our interim police chief. So our goal is to move just to fill both of those positions permanently. But the Civil Service Commission is involved in that to make sure we do it the right way. So we're kind of taking our time and we're updating our civil service rules, we're checking our ordinances, we're checking the high revised code, trying to make sure, like everything we do, that it's done right. And so that'll be coming. I can't tell you when yet. Wednesday night's meeting probably won't be the last one. There'll probably still be another one before we complete the process of having a permanent assistant fire chief and a permanent police chief. Also, I want to mention next Monday at 5 o'clock right here is the Visitors and Conventions meeting, or the tourism meeting. Is that the wrong time, Mr. Reed?
Yeah, that's the right time.
That's the right time, okay. You hear talk about that, where that group, that committee meets to decide what to do with that, that funding. And it's been advertised for people who apply for that money. So that's just a reminder. That's also open to the public. And you come in tonight, you might have seen the sign on the door for the Big Red Diamond Club. They're signing up for spring sports. I wanted to mention that again. They've got 3 sign-up periods this week. They hold them right here too. Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. And then again, Saturday morning, I think, is the final one for Saturday morning, 10 to 12 a.m. I talked to Travis Ruckle just a little bit ago. It's already got about 200 kids signed up. And I mentioned this really just to give them a shout out at what a fantastic job the Big Red Diamond Club does in running our summer rec baseball, softball, and t-ball program. Of course, since we've been here, since this group's been here, it's been a pandemic, and it's kind of messed things up. But we've been able to continue running a pretty nice summer, spring program. A lot of kids participating, and the Big Red Diamond Club does a great job of running it. Travis Ruckle, I already mentioned his name, and Tony Castino. It's a large group of parents. Those are the 2 I usually in contact with. So kudos to them. The rest of my stuff tonight will be during ordinances and resolutions, or during the scheduled executive session that I have there at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor, council? Hearing none, then Mr. Swackhammer.
Yeah, a couple items. One, I'm going to piggyback on the Big Red Diamond Club. You know, last year, they came to us and was wanting to put some dugouts down to one of the diamonds. If you've driven by there lately, you'll see a couple new dugouts on one of the diamonds. And the mayor wouldn't say anything, so I'm going to say something. The material was bought, but the labor was all paid for and donated by the mayor. So I want to thank the mayor personally for that and stuff. The Big Red Diamond Club appreciates it. I appreciate it. The other thing is, this spring, everybody's doing a lot of cleanup already starting. Do need to remind people that a large portion of the city of Jackson is in a floodplain. And whether you're out there dressing up, some of the areas, or cleaning up brush, or trying to move dirt around, you do need to make sure that you're following the proper protocol and come in and get your floodplain permit if needed before you go hauling in, removing. This includes trees, dirt, anything that could impact waterways. So please take it into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Swackhammer. Questions for Mr. Swackhammer? Mr. Peters?
I just have a question, since it was brought up by Mr. Foster about the water issues on Redondo. We have new pavement on Ralph Street, and it's rained a lot, I get it. But is that all surface water that is running out onto the, it's even coming up through the new pavement between Harris Street and Gay Street, on kind of where it dips and then jumps back up? There's a lot of water coming through the pavement. I don't know if that's groundwater or maybe part of the problem why there's no water pressure on Redondo Drive. I don't know. And then up at the entrance of Rowdy's, there's a lot of water. Just, it was sunny and there was no other water anywhere else, but there's a lot of water running down the new pavement. Pavement's probably not going to last very long if there's a whole bunch of water under it, but I didn't know if that was coming up out of the ground or if anybody's kind of investigated it or what. But I understand there's a lot of water that travels across there. I think someone brought up that a lot of those basins from Route 32 there empty into the city, which I don't know whoever thought that was a good idea, but that was a long, long time ago. But has anyone ever investigated maybe where that water's coming from? Or because there's a lot. I'm sure you'll see it, and I'm sure you see it at Rowdy's right there, where y'all just put in a new your new driveway, you put that concrete in there. If you look up, on the other side of that, there's just water runs right out onto the street, so.
Yeah, we have, the city water crew has investigated them, and we do believe it's all just groundwater running off as that ground property all along, down through their slopes toward Ralph Street. At that worst place, because it was icing over, we actually put a French drain on the upper side of it there to try to collect some of it. You can still see where they done that even, but it's still
It's
doing.
helped a little bit, hasn't it?
It did help, but it's still doing
Right.
some. There's just so much groundwater comes out of there during the wet time like this. And, there's no storm drains or anything, and to tie any of it into, so, but they have checked it because at times it seems like that's gotta be more than just a seep out of the bank, but we don't think that's any city water.
And I speak to Greg Farr almost every day, and Greg's going, he's the superintendent of storm sewer. He's going over town, and he's speaking to the mayor and the service director almost daily about, he texted me this morning about a spot down behind the filling station. And I said, yep, that's always that way. So he's keeping his eye on it, too.
Okay. HD?
I have a question from the community about the HyperReach alert system. I'm not familiar with it. I know it's a subscription, but I think the essence of their question was basically, is that something that can be edited? During the flooding and those warnings, they felt like basically the calls were excessive to the point that it was, every 30 minutes and then going into the night and into the early morning hours. I told them I'd try to find out for them. I don't know if that's something that can be adjusted or edited, or is it just an all or nothing kind of service?
Well, we participate in it, but the county EMA actually controls it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief.
That's my understanding of it too, is that it's something that we're a part of.
Yeah.
And we have access to it if we feel like we need to send out a message that is of vital importance, and you can select areas, but so do other agencies.
Right.
And if somebody was sending out a general flood warning for Jackson County, anybody who's a subscriber is going to get those messages, they get updates, so
Okay.
it can, I can look into that a little bit more, and maybe get you a little bit more detailed answer on that too. So I'll make a note of that.
Appreciate it.
One other thing about that, I found that turning the text alerts off and getting the email from them is less bothersome. So I don't know how to adjust it myself. I just remember a long time ago, I used to get like 55 text messages every time there was some sort of warning. So I blocked that, and I get the email still, so they spam me up with those too.
I think the person I was talking to must have had it calling their home phone, so they were getting calls 2, 2:30, 3.
That's no good.
Any other questions for Mr. Swackhammer? Hearing none, then we'll move on into the ordinance and resolutions section of our agenda. We will begin with third reading on ordinance 422. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance repealing the City of Jackson's codified ordinance sections 305.03, 305.04, and 305.05 governing traffic control and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. I'll start with Mr. Swackhammer. Do you have anything you want to add to this, Mr. Swackhammer?
No, sir, this is third reading. I think we've answered most of the questions in the first and second, unless there's any additional.
Other questions, Mr. Peters?
I think I said this once, but I'll say it again. I know we're going to remove this, but it would be great if it were posted somewhere where if someone is interested in knowing what is what, that they'd have access to it. I guess, if right now, the way that it is pending this vote, at least someone could log on here and see what streets are what. I can't make you do this, but I would encourage you to create a list or start a list of one-ways, whatever else we're wiping out here, stop signs and things of that nature. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Other comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Foster.
Yes.
Andera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Ordinance 422 is duly adopted. Next on the list is ordinance, the third reading, ordinance 522. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance repealing and amending the City of Jackson's codified ordinance sections 945.07 and 945.072 governing franchise requirements for transport of garbage, rubbish, or other waste material and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Andera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Ordinance 522 is duly adopted. Next on our list for second reading is ordinance 722. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance amending zoning regulation text in Chapter 2, adding a new O district for open space, recreation, and museums.
Discussion. Any further action to be taken on ordinance 722? This constitutes the second reading of ordinance 722. Ordinance 822. Second reading. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance repealing and amending zoning regulation text in Chapter 2 regarding zoning district regulations, Chapter 4 regarding residential conversions, and Chapter 9 regarding definition of the mobile home.
Discussion. Ms. Peters?
Mr. President, there is no emergency clause in this, am I right?
No.
That's correct. There's-
The only issue, and I know we discussed this in the planning commission meeting, is we're moving into spring where these tiny house deals that we're kind of talking about here, we're in the season for that. We're not gonna have another meeting until mid-March.
14.
If it passes, then we're gonna wait another 30 days for it to enact, which puts us to the part where we need to be. I am of the thought process that these changes needed to be made a long time ago, and I move to suspend the rules so we can implement this. Obviously, it's gonna take 30 more days for this to change, but I move to suspend the rules so we can get this passed as soon as possible.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Ms. Colby, second. Discussion. Mr. Kirby? Is there other discussion?
I was just mentioning it's possible to amend it to include an emergency.
So,
I still think we'll be fine on a timeline of 30 days from today, just to leave it as it is.
all right. Other discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Andera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Andera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Ordinance 822 is duly adopted. Next, we'll go into our resolutions and first reading. We'll begin with Resolution 622. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Jackson to file an application for a grant from the Ohio Valley Regional Development Commission for funding of a transportation project and declaring an emergency.
Can we get a motion to adopt Resolution 622? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Andera. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion, Mayor.
Yeah, this is just to apply for a grant. Another Tracy in our office, just another grant she's working on through the OVRDC for us to try to get some road work improved. We haven't designated for sure yet, but we're thinking maybe Pearl Street or Portsmouth Street. We'll put in this project to try to get this grant money for just additional free money for paving. And there is a deadline of March 25th, so I would like you to consider passing this on first reading tonight. It's just to allow a grant application.
Other discussion? Mr. Bob?
Make a motion, we suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Bob. Is there a second? By Mr. Foster? Roll call?
Foster.
Yes.
Bandera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Other discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Bandera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Resolution 0622 is duly adopted. Our final resolution this evening for consideration is Resolution 722. Ms. Coon?
A resolution approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Community Improvement Board and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt Resolution 0722? Mr. Peters? So moved. Is there a second? Mr. Rondero? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mayor.
Yes, this is to council, according to the ORC, council is supposed to approve my appointments to the Community Improvement Board. And that's what this is. Only two of them can be from one political party. These three appointments will be combined with 6 appointments that I believe will be made by the county commissioners tomorrow, to where we'll have the full Community Improvement Board. This board meets and approves how the county distributes and spends the 0.5% sales tax that was passed back in '87, I think it was, to be used for infrastructure repairs in the townships and villages and municipalities. And there again, I'd like for council to consider suspending and passing this on first reading so we can get that going.
Other discussion?
Motion to suspend.
Motion by Mr. Rondero. Is there a second? Mr. Bob? Other discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Bandera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Bandera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Resolution 0722 is duly adopted. And that is the end of our ordinance and resolutions for the evening. Thank you, council. Do we have any correspondence of any type? Anyone have any old business to be brought before council this evening? We had no one signed to speak, so we'll move right into new business. I did send out an email late today just to inform you that Mr. Schweikhammer wanted to speak about the backlog of ordinances and resolutions. Maybe get those out electronically, so I will turn the floor over to him.
Thank you. The city has been trying to move forward and getting everything electronic. There is still a large portion of the old ordinances and especially resolutions that are still paper copies, making them very difficult to find, update as we need. You would hope most of our ordinances have been codified, and I believe most have, but we're still finding a lot that have not been. And so what I'm asking for is council support in the use of their clerk or an outside source like the GeoPro that we're using for the cemetery records, so that we can take all these old paper copies, get them scanned into an electronic formatted process that allows us then to post on the city's website. I think we're only a little over 10 years back, Cindy, is that about right? Okay, a little over 10 years. We've got, another 100 years to catch up. I hate to say it that way, but, we need to really get some electronic records in place.
Mr. Peters?
do you need reinforcements? I mean, it seems like that's a lot of work for one person.
Well, and that's going to be, I asked, talked to Cindy, she needs some accesses first of all, and some capabilities to be able to do that, so she's not always depending upon someone else to help if she's going to be doing it, or maybe she can lead the effort if you want to use an outside source to try to help speed it along. But I know it'll cost us more money. It's how fast do we want to do it? I think everybody will agree it's the right thing to do. It's just the timing to get it done.
Can I ask another question? Is this gonna be just locally accessible, or are we talking about like codifying them and putting them on the?
I think what we'd have to do is see which ones are or are not already codified to determine whether we move forward that way. But the bigger piece is the resolutions that we have no searchability for as well. But we would put it on the city's website where our current ones that we do have are available, and those are searchable. You can type in keywords and they'll pull them up and stuff. So I know with the, I think it was 15,000 records that we had at the cemetery that they've been working through for the last several months, getting those electronic. It cost us over $20,000 to get that done. Again, we're trying to catch up with, since the city was adopted, that's how old some of those cemetery records were.
I mean, it kind of concerns me if the council doesn't have a large budget anyway. I don't know how everyone else feels, but it seems like a lot of money. I get we need to do it, but is there any other source of funding other than the budget of the council?
Mr. Reed?
You would be paying, if you were doing that for the city, you wouldn't take it probably just out of council budget. It'd be something administration would partner with.
Okay,
They
fair
would
enough.
be, from the general, they can do whatever they wish.
Mr. Reed? Other discussions or comments? So I guess from the chair, we need a motion to?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know if council, because we're going to have to probably allocate some funds at some point in time, depending on how we do it. I just want to get a sort of a up-down from council's support. We'll go out and look to see what way is most economical, get it done and stuff, and go from there.
I mean, I move that we explore the idea of making all of our documents electronic, so I don't think anyone.
Second by Mr. Newkirk.
You think Tracy could get some kind of a grant?
Tracy's my executive assistant, and I think she's probably up to about 90% now of strictly grants. So that's not leaving me a lot of help in my office. But,
Are you saying you're not going to do this?
no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not real computer centered anyway, so I'm not the right person for this. But, you know, I mean, like everything else we've been dealing with, I mean, we're just way behind. This city's way behind in everything. You know, every handbook we got needs updated. We've been working on some of them. Got one, we haven't even started one yet. And this is just another thing that Mr. Swackhammer, I think on our web, did you say we go back 10 years?
Oh, it's 06.
Something like that.
Ordinances, I haven't checked the resolution.
Where you can search our ordinances and resolutions by year or by keyword or whatever.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you're looking in file cabinets somewhere, and most likely it can't be found. But if we can find it in the where they're stored and get them online, then they're there theoretically forever. But we're just way behind in that, and we just want to start like everything else we run into. It's a new goal every week or every day almost. Something that needs attention. We just try to, you know, deal with what we got and try to make it better on everything.
Other discussion about the motion? Concerning the motion?
Go motion on the floor.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Any other new business? Peters?
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
We had discussed, and I talked to Mr. Thacker about decreasing the amount of paper that we have, he was gonna look into, and I reached out to you, he's gonna look into maybe try to do something maybe electronically, like where we could have like a Chromebook or a tablet or something. I've only been doing this for 3 years, and I'm on file cabinet number 2 already at my house, and I, like, you know, everyone else has that much paper as well. So just like to see, you know, maybe us move in that direction. We hadn't really discussed it much as a whole, but just trying to get the pulse of the council to see if that's something where you could access your email and any of the documents could be changed instantly, where we're not having Cindy waste a lot of time and paper where there's, you know, something that's a Scrivener's error or something like that. And Mr. Thacker seems to think that it would be, he could find something at a lower cost and something that falls in line with what the city software and computers that there are already licenses and things for the council to use. So it's not, doesn't really, I guess it would be under the service committee possibly, but as a council as a whole, I was just trying to figure out if that's something that we'd want to do. And they're also looking into see if we could maybe use, if there's any way we could use any other funding, maybe if there's any COVID funds left over. It's honestly not a huge expense, but I think it's something that we need to adjust. There's a lot of paper here. Save some of the issues.
Not only in paper, but also ink and toner and other items. And, you know, obviously, the one item I would point back to is we had a change in a resolution this evening, a little bit of wording, so we had that. So then all of a sudden, when we had to print more paper to put that, which we had to throw away the other paper. And I would just like to, you know, it's been something that I have spoken to Ryan about in regards to just trying to, you know, move forward a little bit with a tablet for council that's, you know, just for use as the council members are, you know. And I too am much like the mayor. I'm not the most tech savvy person around, but I'll work my way through it. I just think it's a positive thing for the council if we can, you know, find a way to use those instead of these. And, you know, you wouldn't have to come in and pick up notebooks. And me also, I've got a cabinet full of stuff in 1 year, and I wouldn't even know where to start. But I just keep everything because someone said you got to keep all your paper, you know, so that you have. So I think it's something we want to explore, and we'll keep working and work with Mr. Thacker and have discussion. I foresee a working session coming down the pike here that, and a committee meeting one night, and have some more discussion about it.
I guess I was just asking if there would be any opposition to us, you know, exploring what our options would be, so.
Other thoughts, Mr. Rucker?
Yeah, I assume the goal would be to have one location with controlled editability that everybody else gets logs into and looks at. Would that be the goal?
Yeah, that's
Because
what.
you wouldn't want.
Right, Mr.
7
Thacker
different
talked
copies.
about like a PDF where you really, I mean, you could edit it, but a lot of novice folks around the table probably wouldn't be editing a PDF file. So that's something, and also too, like he's saying, that's something if there's a last minute change to save time and just the confusion. There's lots of times where we have to reread something like 14 times just to get it right, and it's just try to streamline everything. You know, everything can always change back to the way it was. I mean, but you don't know how easy something is until you maybe try it. So that's where I was at with it.
I agree. Other comments? Well, then I think that's an affirmation that we will continue to work our way forward towards that. So at this point, I think if we have no other new business, there's been a request for executive session, Mayor.
Yes, I'd like to go into executive session with council for the reasons stated on your agenda. two different reasons, but we can do them both in one executive session. Would like for everyone at the table here to stay, and there will be no additional business as a result of this executive session.
Someone want to put forth that motion?
I'll move that we enter into executive session for reviewing contract negotiations and to conference with attorney for personnel matters.
Mr. Bob, second. Ms. Coon?
Foster. Yes. Andera.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bop.
Yes.
We are going to go into executive session. It is 8:47? 7:47, I'm sorry. 7:47.
Hold on.
Get a clock somewhere.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Andera, is there a second? By Harold. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Sometimes,